Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Tammy and today I'm here to share my September budget setup with you. I will be using my Erin Condren Deluxe Monthly Planner and I do keep these on a calendar year basis. So this is the existing year Deluxe Monthly Planner, not the new one that came out the summer of 2019. I will be working with leftover stickers from Caffeinated Cait, and you can find her on Etsy and Instagram. I will provide a link in the comments below. But I want to go ahead and get started because it is just a few days from September 1st, so it is time to get started on the September budget. Okay, if you have seen my layouts before on Instagram or on YouTube, then you know I love to use Caffeinated Cait's sticker sets, her budget kits, for each month. However, I am finding after using her kits for the last year, it's been just over a year, that I have either accidentally ordered a duplicate sheet. This particular one was actually an oops sheet and she sent replacements, and so I had this sheet extra. I also just have some leftovers. So for instance, this sheet I ordered and you can see I used almost everything on it, but I do have one washi strip and a fund strip. So I am just going to see if I can make these work for my September layout. I also have my Erin Condren dual tip markers. These are 4 of the colors from the 10 pack that you can get on the website. The main thing I'm going to focus on today is setting up basically what is kind of my dashboard pages, and I'm really curious to see if I'm going to change how I use these once I move into the new style planner that actually has dashboard pages. But I wanted to just go ahead and show you on my September monthly layout. I also have some Planner Cait Bill Due stickers, and I got this sheet as part of a misfit kit from her. So I may just use these to track actual expenses as they're paid throughout the month. But that's basically all I'm going to do for the monthly layout. So I just wanted to clarify, unless I have leftover strips here or accent pieces, I'm not going to worry about adding any decoration to the monthly layout this month. Okay, let's get started. So normally I start with a thick or a wide washi strip here. That is what her kits come with. So what I'm going to do this month is simply use this as my inspiration. It is pretty straightforward. If you lay a standard thin washi strip down right over the asterisk and then line it up with the top line, you get pretty much a perfect fit. So I'm going to start with that. And then with these sheets, and I actually had this duplicate and what was left on this, but what I'm going to use is the income label. And I'm going to layer it on this purple label. And I'm actually going to just put that, let's see. Okay. Now that we've got that set up, I'm going to move a little further down. I think what I'm going to try is using this variable expenses. So normally this kit would have come with variable expenses and fixed expenses printed here. And there was just a little oops. So what I'm going to do is just use this for all of my expense tracking. So I'll have my income, and then I will put variable expenses here. That is basically it, other than drawing out the line. So why don't I go ahead and draw that out, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that I have drawn out the lines, I have decided, looking back at previous months, I would rather be able to keep a lot of things separate. So for example, we have a subscription for Amazon Prime. We have a subscription for Netflix and Hulu. We actually have a promotion on Hulu right now, so it's only $1 a month. But I like keeping track of those types of things separate instead of, say, entertainment or cable and internet as just one category. And that is mainly for transparency. When the rates change each year, if they change the subscription costs or just anything like that they go through on different days. I just want to make sure everything is clearing, because the biggest thing that will help you with a budget is not just making a budget, but tracking the actual expenses. So because I keep track of all of those types of things individually for our whole financial system, then I really need the space. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and use this sticker, which would have been for fixed expenses anyway. So I'm going to put this here. So I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and use the expenses sticker here, because this is about making leftovers work instead of buying another kit. Now I love Cait, and these sticker sheets are super affordable. The whole budget kit that you would normally use for both of these pages, I think is like $5. When you reorder from her, you get a discount code. You can get free shipping if you spend over a certain amount, so you can stock up for the rest of the year. It's not that expensive. It's just that I have so much left over, wanted to make something work with what I had. Okay, so that basically sets up this. I will put in my husband's primary income, his retirement. He is retired from the military, so his income from his job now, his military retirement, my income from my home business, and then any other unbudgeted income and total. And the unbudgeted income could be for either of us for a variety of reasons, anything extra that comes in. That might even include reimbursements for things, you know, if we've paid for doctor's appointments and then come to find out we didn't have to pay the whole amount that we paid and we get a refund, anything like that. Variable expenses is pretty much everything that doesn't change, and this category will be for things like our mortgage and those subscription services that are a set amount, car insurance and things like that. So I've got room for all that. I'm just going to draw these last couple of lines. And again, if you're not familiar with Caffeinated Cait's stickers, she actually has really faint lines built into these stickers, so you can use these as a guide to draw out your columns. What's nice about that is you can make this as small or as big as you need for your circumstances. Okay, let's get to the other side. So what I've done in the past on this side is I track our sinking funds at the top, and then I have tracked our credit card usage. We are not 100% Dave Ramsey, you know, compliant, if that's the right way to say that. So we use our cards, and so I want a place for that. We do have loans on our cars right now, so I've got a place for that. And then I was tracking our bank account balances. But what I have found is that it's almost too much tracking, especially like some of the balances. So what I think I'm going to do is simplify this a little bit, but I definitely want to have us have our sinking funds. So what I'm going to do is very similar to what I normally do with these sheets. So I'm going to layer the sinking funds onto a sticker, but what I'm going to do is actually start with these leftover ones. So I'll have a sinking funds, and then I'm going to do one for debt, and that'll be all debt. And then I think what I'm going to do is just have starting and ending balances for the other accounts that we want to track. And then that will give me plenty of room to also put our income and expense total tracker using these stickers down here. So let me get all of that laid down and drawn out. I need to double check how many lines I need for each of these categories. Even though I've been doing this, like I said, for almost a year, I always seem to forget unless I flip back to the previous month. So I'm going to start with sinking funds, and then I really only need a few lines for this. So this is designed to track your total numbers at the end of the month. So you track your income, your expenses, anything you've saved, and then you can show what you had budgeted for each of those, and then what your actual was. So it's you're totaling your expenses over here, you're totaling any savings that you're doing, however you want to track that, and then so income, expenses, and savings. You don't really need any extra lines, you just need the 3. And then you put your totals down on the sticker on the bottom. I think at that point it's just time to draw the lines, so let's do it. Well, I definitely got a little carried away with the lines on the first box, so I don't normally draw a line this direction for every single thing. I normally just make an extra border around the totals for the bottom. So yeah, live and learn. The other thing I've decided now that I've drawn these out is I think what I'm going to do is add one for this month, and I'm going to track our investment balances. So I think since this is basically assets and so will the investments, I'm just going to use this leftover sticker from this sheet, and investments was left over from this sheet as well. And I think what I'm going to do is the same thing here. All right, so I've got that. I'm going to draw the lines down here. I think I'm going to do those in the same lilac color. And these are great because, again, you can just use her lines to draw your columns. And this is basically going to give me my whole monthly dashboard, you know, the ins, the outs, and the overall. Then the following pages I would normally use for tracking, and I would use other washi strips from the kit for those. So this is the monthly layout with the leftover stickers. So I have the same things that I've had in the past, I just don't have a new kit to do it with. So since September color is purple in the Erin Condren colorful design, I'm just pulling from what I had. So I've got a place for our income, variable expenses, fixed expenses, sinking funds, our debt categories, and even if they don't carry a balance, I still track them here, basically. And then this will be for asset accounts like checkings and savings, and then this will be for our investments, and then this will be the total for income, expenses, and savings. Instead of writing that out, I don't have a sticker for each one. What I could do is use some of the icons. So I can say that this is basically for income, and the little card will be for expenses, and the little piggy bank can be for the savings line. And I think that's cute. That's good for me. It's mainly for me, and it'll be pretty clear when the total budget for income matches the budgeted amount and then actual. I guess that's one thing I could clarify right here. So this will be, in case this is confusing, since I'm not using a kit from her, I'm actually going to be writing in, this is the income, this will be the budgeted, and this will be the actual, just like this. And then over here, what I'm doing is, this is basically the starting balance. This will be amount that's funded or added. It's not really income, but it's income to that account. So for simplicity's sake, we'll just say income, expense, and this will be ending balance. And that just carries straight down to this, but for here, it's just going to be beginning of the month and end of the month. So this will be beginning balance, ending balance. And this will be the September 30th balance. Okay, Everything else is labeled with the stickers or with the washi in the headers. So that takes care of those 2 pages. And then on the next 2 pages, I normally have like the category like dining out, and then I have a column for how much we spent, basically a place to put that line's expense, and then have a running deducted total. So if our eating out budget was $400, then I would subtract as I go, so I have a running balance of what's left in that fund. That means that this sticker doesn't really work great for that, because the only way I would use this would be if I just did our expenses like a checkbook register. So if by each, you could put this across the top, and then you could say dining out, the date, the amount, and then you could say where you ate out. Then underneath that, you could say car fuel or automotive expense, and then you could say the date, the amount, and then you could put where you got gas or where you paid for an oil change, something like that. So if you wanted to have everything running together like a checkbook, this sticker would work great. I like having them separate, so I like having dining out, groceries, auto repair, and fuel costs. I put them all together, and then I have a big section for all the other categories because they tend to just need 1 or 2 lines, like our medical expenses, although with our individual copays and stuff, that's becoming a little more to track. But medical expenses, clothing, our dog expenses, I don't necessarily put a separate header for every single one, but I have found having a large area to track those and having 2 or 3 lines for each category is working for me. So that might work for this. So I think I will actually do that. So over here, I'll leave a little bit of room for the automotive expenses. Really don't normally need that many lines. So what I'll do is I'll put, actually I'm going to give myself 1 more line. I am going to put this over here, and basically all those other categories like I was saying. So here I could write medical, the date, the amount, and who it was for, if it was a copay or prescription or something like that. I do have a Stitch Fix delivery coming, so I can put clothing, the date, the amount my total ends up being, and that it's Stitch Fix. So I will use that sticker there. I'm glad I talked that through with you guys. Thanks so much for your feedback. And then what I think I'll do is go back to this, and instead of having washi for every section, I will go ahead and just use these. So let's do this for automotive, fuel and repairs, and then we'll do dining out, and we'll do groceries in a different color. And we keep track of all of our household items with our groceries. So everything from if I purchase anything like supplements or household products, cleaners, anything like that. So like our Grove Collaborative order, a doTERRA order, butcher box we get every 3 months, anything like that would all go in here. And so what I started doing recently was just basically doing week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then I have a little bit of buffer there. So that will take care of those categories just using the leftover stickers. So what I do, like I said, normally is I just draw the line using the flag. So basically I use this as my date column. So I just line the side of the flag up with the ruler. And what I think I want to do is use really light lines. So I'm going to go back to this pink. Now you may be thinking that is a lot of lines if that is your eating out section. You would be correct, and that is a choice we have made. We do tend to eat out a lot. It's not necessarily very expensive per meal. We don't eat very expensive places, and we are working on reducing that, but my husband eats out a lot right now with lunch. He doesn't have anywhere to eat lunch at work, and we have been traveling a lot, and we will be traveling a lot in September. So keeping track of every single expense in here, it starts to add up as far as space. So I have this column for the date, and then I normally come over here and, like I said, I keep a running balance of what is remaining. So I'll put that here, so I just need enough room to have a running balance. And I am going to draw that all the way down. And then I have a column for the amount on that line. So again, if there were 2 or 3 smaller transactions that would fit on one line, then I'll do that. I have been finding I'm not filling this out completely, but it's also not necessarily enough space yet. Like I said, we're working on reducing how much we're eating out, but I haven't saved enough space to be able to bring over my automotive expenses and fit them on here with writing everything out. So that leaves me plenty of room, like I said, to write 2 or 3 transactions on each line. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw the top here, thing here. So basically I'll use this line to designate what the columns are for, my starting balance for that category. So this is like keeping track of cash envelopes in a ledger instead of actually pulling out the cash. You can do it however you want, but basically here I'll have room for the category and then the amount for that line and then the running balance. So I'll put the starting amount for our budget here for eating out and we'll deduct as we go. Same thing for groceries and the same thing for automotive fuel. And then these funds, like I said, I'm going to try that with this sticker this month. So let me get those lines in and we'll be just about done. So now we have everything laid out. I'm just going to label these for the categories, and basically I am good to go and set up. I just need to fill in the actual items, which I don't do on camera. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Do you track your budget in detail in a paper format? I have been doing this, as I've mentioned before, for about a year, and I have not tracked our budget this closely since we were young and newly married. I found some copies actually of some of our first budgets, and I wish we had that few of expenses and low expenses like we did 20 plus years ago. But basically, for whatever reason, tracking on paper is just much more effective for me. I've tried a bunch of apps where they link directly to the accounts and you can categorize everything and see the totals. And I wouldn't even mind, kind of doubling up and having both in place. But for now, this is working great for us. So I hope you find it inspiring and that you will set up a September budget, and more importantly, that you will find a way to track your expenses so you know where your money is going and you can make the changes you want to reach the goals that you have in mind. Thanks so much for joining me. I post more consistently on Instagram. You can find me over there at Tammy Skipper. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye guys.